You had the whole day. No interruptions, no obligations. And somehow you did nothing. Not because you couldn't, not because you didn't care, but because every time you got close to starting, something pulled you back. A phone, a thought, a reason to wait. And now it's late, and you're not even tired. You're just hollow. Here's what nobody tells you about that feeling. It's not laziness. It's not weakness. It's not a character flaw you were born with. It's avoidance. And avoidance is never about the task. It's always about what the task represents. Section 2. Problem Deep Dive. Think about the last time you avoided something important. Not something you hated, something you actually wanted. Maybe it was a project that mattered to you, a conversation you kept rehearsing and never had, a goal you told yourself you'd start Monday, next month, after things settled. And when you try to explain it, even to yourself, the words don't quite fit. I'm just not motivated. I'll do it when I'm ready. I work better under pressure. But pressure comes and you still don't move. So you start to wonder, what is wrong with me? And that question is where the real damage happens. Because you don't just avoid the task now. You start avoiding the version of yourself who was supposed to do it. You begin to build an identity around not starting. I'm the type of person who never follows through. I always do this. This is just who I am. And once that story is in place, avoidance doesn't feel like a choice anymore. It feels like character. Section 3. Reframe. But here's what psychology actually shows us. Avoidance is not a personality trait. It is a protection strategy. Your brain is not failing you. It is doing exactly what it was trained to do. Keep you away from something it has labeled as dangerous. The question isn't, why are you so lazy? The question is, what has your brain decided this task will cost you? Because somewhere, at some point, trying led to pain. Effort led to judgment. Wanting something led to losing it. And your nervous system remembered. It doesn't store lessons in words. It stores them in resistance, in heaviness, in the sudden urge to check your phone right when you're about to begin. That resistance is not you failing. That is you surviving, using the only strategy that once worked. Section 4. Psychological mechanism. There's a concept in behavioral psychology called experiential avoidance. It's the pattern of avoiding internal experiences, thoughts, feelings, sensations, because they feel threatening. The brain's threat detection system, the amygdala, doesn't only respond to physical danger. It responds to anticipated emotional pain, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of discovering you're not enough. These register as real threats, as real neurologically as a fire alarm. And when the threat signal fires, the brain's first instruction is simple: don't go near it. Here's the mental model to hold on to. Think of your avoidance like a smoke detector that's too sensitive. Think of your avoidance like a smoke detector that's too sensitive. It's not broken, it's just calibrated to an old environment, one where effort was dangerous, where being seen trying meant being vulnerable to criticism, where wanting things meant setting yourself up to be disappointed. The detector kept you safe then, but it's still firing now, in a life where the threat is no longer real. The alarm goes off and you retreat, not because there's fire, but because your nervous system still thinks there might be. Section 5. Practical framework. So how do you begin to change this? Not with discipline, not with forcing yourself to push through, but with slowly, deliberately recalibrating what your brain associates with effort. Step 1. Name the real fear, not the task. Before you avoid something, pause. Ask, what do I think will happen if I try? Not, I don't feel like it. Deeper, what am I actually afraid this will prove about me? This works because it activates the prefrontal cortex, the rational brain, which can interrupt the amygdala's threat response. You can't calm a system you don't acknowledge. Real-life example. You're avoiding sending that email. The real fear isn't the email, it's being ignored. Being ignored would confirm a story you already believe about yourself. Name that. Just name it. Step 2. Make the starting moment smaller than the fear. Avoidance grows in proportion to how large the task feels. The brain will not walk towards something it perceives as overwhelming, so you shrink the entry point until the threat signal doesn't fire. This isn't about productivity hacks, it's about working with your nervous system instead of against it. 2 minutes, 1 paragraph, 1 sentence. Not to finish the thing, just to prove to your brain that starting doesn't hurt. Real-life example. You want to work out. Start by only putting on your shoes. That's the whole task. Your brain learns this was safe. Step 3. Separate your identity from your output. The reason avoidance becomes chronic is because you fused who you are with what you produce. So not finishing becomes not being enough. And the brain protects identity above almost anything. Cognitive behavioral psychology calls this self-concept threat, when a task carries the weight of your entire self-worth. The practice is to consciously remind yourself, this result is data. It is not a verdict. Real-life example. You write something. It's not good yet. That means your skill is still developing, not that you are fundamentally lacking. Step 4. Recognize the relief cycle and interrupt it. Every time you avoid something, you feel a brief sense of relief. That relief is the reinforcement. Your brain logs, avoidance worked, do it again. This is a negative reinforcement loop, one of the most powerful behavioral patterns in psychology. To interrupt it, you have to let yourself feel the discomfort without immediately escaping it. Not forever, not without limit, just long enough for your brain to learn discomfort doesn't mean danger. Sit with the resistance for 90 seconds. Research shows most emotional urges peak and begin to fade within that window. Real-life example. You feel the urge to close the tab. Wait 90 seconds before you do. Sometimes you close it anyway. That's okay. But sometimes the urge passes, and you stay. Section 6. Integration. Here's the one model to carry with you. Avoidance is a calibration problem, not a character problem. Your nervous system learned to turn the threat dial up when effort, visibility, or desire appeared. Your work now is not to force yourself forward. It is to slowly, consistently turn that dial down by showing your brain one small experience at a time that trying is survivable, that being seen is survivable, that wanting something and not immediately getting it is survivable. You are not rebuilding willpower. You are rebuilding trust with yourself. Section 7. Quiet, empowering close. You have spent a long time being frustrated at yourself for not moving, but you were never standing still out of laziness. You were standing at the edge of something that once cost you, and your body remembered. That's not weakness. That's a nervous system that learned to protect you. The question now isn't, can't I just do it? The question is, what would it feel like to believe that trying is safe? You don't have to answer that today, but sit with it. Because somewhere underneath the avoidance, there is still someone who wants to try, and that person never actually left.